Welcome to Stay
and Slay
with Mel
and Krissy. Hey, we're back outside.
We back outside. It's Friday. Beautiful night.
Brian, go outside.
Brian, go outside.
Brian, get outside right now.
You'll understand.
Yeah,
but
if you know, you know. Mel, what do you want to talk about today?
First, we wanted to shout out all the special men in our life.
Right, for
men's mental health
Month.
Also,
Awareness Month.
Happy Pride.
Oh, yeah. We also wanted to scream, Happy Pride!
Happy Pride!
to all our lovely Pride friends.
Yes.
We love you guys. But yeah, we did want to shout out the men in our lives that we just want to give some special shout outs.
Yeah.
Because it's Mental Health Awareness Month and we should just appreciate them. Yeah. Give them a little boost of mental love.
I'll go first. First would be my dad.
Aw, Dad.
Because he's the best. He's a great role model. And just a great man in my life to look up to.
I look up to him too.
Yeah, he's
love the guy.
Great guy.
We love you, Dad.
We love you. And then my two coworkers, Paul and Austin.
I
love you guys.
I love them too. I want to also shout out my dad because I feel like this podcast has helped open him up. And
yay.
I can see the work he's doing, and he's doing so good. And I love it.
Slay.
Love you, Dad.
Love you, dads.
And I want to shout out my dude friends for watching this podcast.
Woo.
And all the tips and advice they give.
Yes,
and feedback.
Absolutely.
Or maybe they're just watching to make fun of us, but we appreciate any view we can
get. We appreciate
it. So shout out to Brian and Jackson. Slayers for life.
Slayers for life. If you guys follow us on Instagram,
which
you should. If you don't, Stay and Slay Pod. Did a collab with There Is Time. She is an author and poet in the UK, and she just wrote a little poem for us for Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So
yeah, we
that was
collabed.
Cool.
Poetry times mental health podcast.
Yeah.
But I do want to say I love poetry.
Yeah.
And I love how poetry can help. Like, when I read poetry, I'm looking for a way to express how I'm feeling if I can't find the words myself.
Yeah.
So I really like poetry, and I like that we got to work with her on it because we aren't men.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that, like, we were able to capture how they might feel, you know, for this Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yeah.
We did post, like, a what do you want to hear about Q&A, and there were a few that stood out to us. And I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think it is possible, well, I guess the people have a question for you. Do you think it is possible to be friends with an ex?
Oh.
Yeah, it's a juicy topic, but the people want to know.
Well, I personally am not friends with any of my exes, but I think that some people can be. Like, if you watch Vanderpump Rules...
Here she goes.
Here I go again. But if you watch Vanderpump Rules, like, you can honestly see how, like, Katie and Schwartz have become really good friends after, like, breaking up. And I don't know. I think some people can do it, but it really just depends on the person, you know?
I guess it depends on the situation, not even the person.
Definitely the situation.
For me, I feel like in a perfect world, I would be friends with my exes. But sometimes, I think when you break up with someone, it is very important to take that space. Like,
yeah.
I think...
Oh, for sure.
I think no contact is such an important thing that when you're, like, starting to break up with somebody, it's very hard to, like, initiate and like follow through with the no contact. But I think that is so important. And then maybe one day in the future, you know, you get that closure, whatever it is, and then you guys can be on, like, friendly terms.
Yeah.
But
I think
I don't
also
know. I don't know.
It takes people, like, time to heal.
Right, like you need to heal and then you can be friends.
And that's why, like, no contact is so important.
It is so important.
You have to, like, take that time for yourself and like figure out what you need on your own time without
Right.
someone there
I feel like
in a way.
in my like small dating history
Yeah.
experience, um my first boyfriend, we did no contact right away, and honestly, like, slay, I definitely needed that.
Yeah.
But I mean, your first relationship, it's like the world is ending.
Yeah.
Right.
Literally the world's ending.
Um, my second go around, I did stay friends.
Yeah.
Like, we ended things and we just kept hanging out, and that was not a good idea.
No.
Like, for a while, like, I mean, we weren't hanging out as consistently, but we were still
Yeah.
hanging out. Like, and we kind of, like, had, like, a little bit of a group going.
Mhm.
Like, I would still hang out with his friends
Yeah.
and his family. But
I've never done
we
that.
reached a point where we got to a point where like our life started to like grow apart naturally,
Yeah.
where the no contact naturally kind of set in stone. And we're definitely like not on bad terms or anything, like we're on good
Yeah.
terms, and we tried to stay friends, but it was honestly in the end of the day better that we did go our separate ways,
Yeah.
because our lives are way too different to be a part of each other's, honestly.
For me, I think in all of like my breakups and stuff, I've kind of been forced to go no contact.
Like, what do you mean forced? Like,
Okay,
what does
this is
that mean? Like, did somebody put a gun to your head and say, like, no?
yeah.
Was it you? Was it your
No,
therapist?
this is lore then.
Okay, here it comes.
Here it
You
comes.
got my lore. It's like 2 seconds long. I have
Okay,
nothing to share.
I won't get that deep, but I like was single for like 2 months and then I got a new boyfriend. It was like very quick. You know what
Okay,
I
that
mean?
like goes into a whole different like should you move on that fast?
Yeah, we can talk about
Yeah,
that
we
after.
should. We
We'll talk
should.
about it after this.
We should.
Because I have a lot to say about that. But yeah, so I got into a different relationship. So I think like my ex at the time, he was kind of just like forced to like move on. And I know that was like
Okay.
really hard.
But so in
And
that 2
then
months apart though, were you no contact?
that's going to get way too crazy.
No.
I just can't. Well, okay, both times basically like relationships happened after. So it's like you're not
Gonna talk.
gonna talk to someone
So
anymore. If
that's
they're in a new
that's like
relationship, you need to respect that. You know?
getting more detailed on the topic. Like, can you be friends with an ex? Probably not once you start dating someone new.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't that be a
No.
problem unless you're really secure in your new relationship? And
I think the only thing is like if you guys like
the only thing.
if you dated in high school and it's like years later and now in college,
Okay.
like, there's situations where people can be friends, but
You know,
there's others where they can't. Like, it just depends on the person.
right. Right. Say like I dated one of your exes.
Yeah.
Like that's weird. Like friends dating
Well,
the same
that's a whole
person.
different thing.
I know, but I'm just thinking about that, and I think that's so gross.
Yeah. Well,
Like, doesn't even matter if it happened in high school. I think it's weird.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I would be like really annoyed if you dated one of
Right,
my
I know.
exes.
Even if it was like your middle school boyfriend, I think it's weird.
Yeah.
I don't even like when like people kiss the same guy. I think it's so weird. Well, I guess
Okay, well,
we've decided that you really can't be friends with an
well,
ex.
I just think I don't think I don't think that's a yes or no question.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's
Well,
very
I think
situational.
when it comes down to your mental health, you probably shouldn't. You're an ex for a reason.
Okay, are we gonna talk here? Let's reword the question.
Okay.
Are we gonna talk healthy or are we gonna talk a little Delu?
This is a mental health podcast, Melanie.
Okay, then.
Like mental on the terms of mental health and trying to better
Okay,
ourselves.
on the terms of being healthy.
The past is the past. It's time to move on.
Yes, and you should go no contact.
If you broke up, it's for a reason, and you have to close the door, lock it, throw the key away.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
gone. It's gone.
You know something I realized in like healing from a breakup is that I think it's really good, at least for me, my
Right.
experience.
Right.
I think it was really good for me to like in the beginning just remind myself over and over and over again
Why?
all the horrible things and why and
So
why and
true.
why.
So
Over,
true.
yes, would the good times roll in my head all the
Right.
time, of course, but I had to
Right.
like make myself not think that way.
I was recently watching a podcast
A podcast.
with it was actually Jake Shane and Ed Sheeran, but
Yeah.
Ed, I don't know how it
Ew,
came.
there's a
Oh,
cicada.
one of the patients. I don't want to say the real word. They like sent in a question about like how they're still hung up on a friend that they had like a friend breakup with.
Yeah.
And Ed was saying some like pretty deep stuff like when you break up with a friend, like you're no longer in each other's lives, it's very important to you're freaking me out by
I'm
your
fine.
reactions.
I'm
fine. But yeah, he was saying like when you end a friendship, I get what you're saying by like remembering all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
But instead of like sitting there and like being all upset about it and thinking about all the bad things and like, you know, how maybe like how bad they treated you or whatever.
Yeah.
You can just, it makes it very hard to remember the good stuff about that person and the good times you had, but it's very important to always keep looking forward and think about like all the things you do have and all the things that may be coming your way.
Yeah.
And I liked how he said that because sometimes we do get really caught up in the past and the people in our past.
Yeah.
And like whether we miss them or we're still hurt by what they did, but that like stops you from like being appreciative of what you currently have and what could be coming your way and like just looking forward to what's next.
It's just like a healing process.
Right.
Like
true, it's
it
the waves.
is. Like
it's the waves.
you have to be able, and I think that's like another big thing I learned. You have to be able to let yourself like feel. And
True.
if you're really like if you're just crying all day, let yourself cry. If you're really angry, like that's fine. You can let it out. Just don't. Obviously in an unhealthy way. But,
right. Like you
know,
don't need to go back to that person.
But you can do that for only,
so long.
So long. Like
right.
It gets to a point where when you just life is short and you have to keep living.
Right.
And like you can't just shrivel up in a hole.
And you can't always focus on the past. And even though like it's hurting, it can hurt you, but there's so much to always look forward to. And like I said, you're an ex for a reason. There's really no purpose in sticking around any longer. I am the type.
Yeah, I think it's a thing of
right.
like letting something linger that doesn't
right.
need to be
that
there.
That doesn't need to be there.
That's how I see it.
Like close the door.
Yes.
And I am the type of person where I just want to be on that good terms. Not that they have to be in my life, but I want to be on that good term. Because you never know what happens in life.
Of course.
And, you of course you always want to be there for someone you once cared about.
Yeah.
But I've learned that it is so important to know that you can love somebody from afar. You don't need to be in their life, You can still love them and never speak to them again.
Yeah. I think I'm learning to accept that.
I feel like lately that's been like one of my, oh gosh.
I know.
One of my biggest things is just remembering that, yeah, I may care about them, but remember like how they made me feel at one point. It's just good to love them from afar. And there's no purpose to rekindle anything ever.
Yeah. I think like
it burns.
You have to just look at life and think, every like relationship and experience you have, you kind of have to think like, what good did I get from this?
Right.
How did this, affect me good and bad as a person?
Mm-hmm.
And
you
take
live and
it,
you learn, just
grow
learn.
from it, and move
right.
on.
Everything happens for a reason. There's a lesson in all your relationships in life.
I look at every relationship I've had as like I've learned from each one of them.
Right.
I've learned what I want in a person and what I don't want in a person
too.
Right. Which is why it's important to like, talk to people. And
specifically this person who asked the question, don't be friends with your ex.
Yeah.
Don't
be friends with your ex.
But anyway.
Don't.
There was another silly question. You want to hear it?
Yeah. What was it?
Can a girl and guy just be friends?
Actually, like, I really love this question.
You do love this question?
I do.
You know how funny it would be if we said no and all our guy friends were like, what?
I know. Hey, yes.
Yes, they can just be friends. Like, are you serious right now?
But I've heard from like guys that they don't think that.
The first guy we have on this podcast, that's the first question.
Yeah, we're gonna ask him.
I'll put it on the Q&A card.
Oh.
Do you believe they are just your friends because they think you're attractive?
Well, I don't think I was like always
actually enjoy being around you.
I feel like, well, are we talking about like in my childhood or like now?
Whenever. Like, you're talking about these guys who you think might have been into
Well,
you.
all my guy friends now, like, are my friends because, well, a lot of them were because of like work, like in college. A lot of my guy friends I met at work.
So, like, yeah, your guy, like your coworkers, like.
Yeah, but I'm still friends with them to this day.
But those are your friends. Like, it's not more than that ever.
Yeah, no, never.
Right, exactly.
Never.
That's why I think there are definitely relationships.
But all my guy friends respect that we are friends, you know?
Right.
So
like, they
yes,
would never hit
like,
on you, never make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, yes. I feel like this is kind of like a dumb question, honestly.
Right. But it was a question. I just wanted to see.
I'm sorry that I called your question dumb.
It's a topic of discussion. Like, I've definitely had these conversations with guys before, and I've also had guy friends who have noticed like which girls they're friends with. Like, I can tell, like, oh, you're like into them, but it's not all the time. You know what I mean? Absolutely, just friends.
Yeah, I love everyone equally.
I've heard though that like you're only friends, even like the like girls in your life. You're only friends with people who you find attractive. Like, I've heard that like theory before. Like, you have to find.
Yeah, I have heard that too.
Right, like you have to find someone attractive to like hang out with them and spend time with them and like whatever.
That's interesting.
I think it's weird. Like is that scientifically proven?
I don't know.
We should have looked up the stats.
I should ask someone at work.
Yeah. Yeah, those are silly questions, aren't they?
Yeah, they are pretty silly. Do you think that...
Yeah, what's your question?
Do you think that there's like a time period that is too quick to like move on after a relationship?
Yeah, 2 months is so fast.
Oh, you think that's too quick?
I think 3 months is pushing it. Honestly.
What do you think is too quick?
Well, like, I think bare minimum. Well, one, it depends how long the relationship is.
Yeah.
Because if you're breaking up with someone you only dated for like half a year, you might only. What do you think? It depends how long the relationship is, for one. Because if you're breaking up with somebody you've only been dating for like less than half a year, you probably only need 2-3 months.
Not even.
If you are breaking up with someone you've dated for more than a year, you definitely need a year to move on. Like, that's how I feel.
Oh God.
Like, if you dated for a whole year, you experienced every holiday with them, like you went through a whole rotation around the sun. Or is that what we're doing? Yeah, I think that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
You need that year to like detach every single day from that person. I actually think you need as long as the relationship was.
I completely disagree.
Well, I mean, it also depends how deeply like you like love people. I feel like I'm just like
I think it depends on the kind of relationship too. Moved on like really quick because it was so just like unhealthy and I was so checked out.
Okay, yeah, well that's the thing. Like I've heard like people check out before they actually end it. You don't see it coming. It's like,
yeah. I just feel like it depends on like what happened, you know.
Right, it's always situational based on how long and how deep it got and all of it.
Because I just feel like you can't really look
like,
on the outside.
Then let's change the question to like, you know, how long should you take to move on from like a year-long relationship? Like, be specific.
Okay, well, I guess that question would be like, was this a good relationship? Like, were you...
I feel like it should be based off of how heartbroken you are when it ends. Because I've had friends who've been, like, extremely heartbroken over, you know, their boyfriend of, like, however many years.
Yeah.
And there's no way that person is going to move on in 2 months from now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it is going to take them time to heal. Like, it really just depends how deep that wound is.
Yeah.
Because
it really
sometimes
does.
it's like you're both checked out and it's like, okay, bye, you know?
Right.
That's different. But if it's like a deep hurt, like you said, if you're blindsided, like, that's another story.
Yeah.
You get cheated on, that's another story.
Yep. Been there.
Right. Like, all of it. All of it's situational, bitch.
Yeah.
But you should never be friends with your ex.
No.
Full circle.
Full circle. Yeah. I don't know. I think, again, situational.
I call Brian and be like, do you have anything else?
Yeah, call him.
Let's get him on the podcast.
You've reached Brian from Access.
Hold on, I'll call him again. I think he's probably on Do Not Disturb.
Awesome. Oh, well, you be in it too. Hi, we're recording.
Hi! We like...
You're on the pod.
Yeah, you're on the pod. Hello, Slayers.
We had to ask you a question.
We want you to ask us a question.
All right, what kind of question?
We have been talking about, like, if you should be friends with your ex or not.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay.
So what are questions along those lines?
Okay.
That's like, yeah, I don't know.
Hop into the little things of the week.
Okay, little thing.
What my little thing is kind of a big thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to see Noah Khan for the third time.
So cool.
And this time was probably the best of the three because first time I saw him, no one in the crowd knew him. It was awful. I was the only one jumping up and down. Yes, it was awful. The time was Lollapalooza. The crowd was annoying. Obviously, it's Lollapalooza. But this time, we paid a buttload of money to be like front row, and it was so worth it.
Yeah.
And he is an awesome performer. He's hilarious. Had us cracking up the whole time. And he played Call Your Mom, and it was just, I wanted to hear that song live for a really long time now.
Yeah.
And it was just so good. He just did so good. What a guy. I've been a fan literally for like so long. What was your little thing?
My little thing was okay, so I was kind of having like a weird day this week. I was down.
Right.
Like the whole day. And then every day after work I go on a walk. I go on like a pretty long walk. And so I was like standing in my kitchen window and a cardinal landed right here actually.
Aww,
and I was like, hi. And then it like looked at me and like opened its mouth. And it just like, it stayed with me for a while, for as long as I needed it to stay there. It was really weird.
Yeah.
And then it flew away.
That's so cute.
And then I saw a butterfly on my walk. So, okay. So last week, my mom and I, backstory, we went to Vancouver together because I had a work trip, and she tagged along with me, and that was really fun. So she actually, while I was at work, wrote her little thing in, so I had no idea she did it, which was really cute. And she put, ir de viaje con mi hija. Estar juntas. Really cute. And my mom is from Panama, for those that don't know, so she speaks Spanish.
Says this week's episode, of course, very enlightening.
Woo!
Which I feel like our men's mental health episode was a little bit of a hit.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
I would say so.
I can see the effect we make.
Yeah.
Even if it is so small, you know. Obviously, we'd love to make like a big, you know, effect on people. But I kind of noticed the people in my life who are listening, and like they are gaining that awareness that they wouldn't normally. Like they wouldn't even know this month is men's mental health awareness.
Right.
And I know this topic is really important to a lot of people who have lost men to suicide.
Right.
So I just know that it's an important topic.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of us.
Me
talking
too.
about it. We slay.
We slay.
You slay.
You slay.
Slayers. We
Right.
have to go, but we'll see you next time.
Yes. Thanks for watching Stay
And slay.
with Mel.
And Krissy, as always.
Stay vibrant.
Mwah.